In a new horror movie, a bloodthirsty bear terrorizes a group of friends at a house in the woods. But this is not just any bear. This bear's name is Winnie the Pooh. Hi there everyone, I'm Jeff and this is Plain English, lesson number 541. At Plain English, we help you upgrade your English with lessons about current events and trending topics. By listening to a wide variety of topics, you'll expand your vocabulary and you'll be able to talk about the most important trends in the world with your friends and colleagues in English. JR is the producer and he has uploaded the full lesson to plainenglish.com/541. Coming up today, I thought it was a sick joke, but we're still more than 3 months away from April Fool's Day. It's not a joke, it's true. A new horror movie features the lovable, innocent children's character Winnie the Pooh. On today's lesson, I'll tell you exactly what's going on with that. In the second half of today's lesson, I'll also show you how to use the English phrasal verb slim down. Let's get going. In 1926, author A. Milne released a collection of stories about a fictional bear called Winnie the Pooh. The children's stories tell about innocent adventures of Winnie, his human friend Christopher Robin, and his animal friends Piglet, Rabbit, Eeyore, Owl, Kanga, and Roo. In one story, Winnie goes into Rabbit's house, eats a huge feast, and then discovers he's too fat to go out the door. Christopher helps him slim down enough to make it out. In another story, Pooh and Piglet are following a mysterious set of footsteps in a circle around a tree, until Christopher points out they're just following their own footsteps. Good, wholesome fun. The author created other books featuring Pooh and his friends. Disney licensed the rights to the characters in the 1960s and turned the stories into animated features. But in none of A. Milne's stories, and in no subsequent Disney film, does Pooh or Piglet murder any other character. They don't write threatening messages on windows in blood. They don't run around with sledgehammers. So you might have been surprised to see the trailer for a new horror movie. It's called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. What is going on here? Under American law, the copyright on works of fiction lasts for 95 years. In Britain, copyright lasts for 70 years after the owner's death. After the copyright runs out, the works are in the public domain, and that means that anyone can reproduce the drawings and stories, and anyone can create their own stories based on those characters. Today, is January 26th, 2023. It's 96 years after A. Milne's first story came out. So that means Winnie the Pooh is now in the public domain. This is not as unusual as it sounds. Every year, the copyright on some creative works expires. Until now, however, those works have mostly been literature. When a book enters the public domain, a few things become possible. First, anyone can reproduce the text and sell a copy of the book without paying any royalties. That's why you can buy copies of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice for such low prices on Amazon. And second, anyone can write new stories using the characters. Those are called derivative works. For example, the British copyright on books by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle ran out in the early 2000s. Shortly thereafter, a slew of television shows and movies used Sherlock Holmes and his friend Watson as characters. The Great Gatsby entered the public domain in 2021. That same year, we were treated to a new novel featuring Jay Gatsby as a vampire. Literature has been around a lot longer than motion picture films have, so a lot of well-known novels have entered the public domain. Not so for movies. Movies are a much newer art form, and fewer of those have lost their copyrights. But that is about to change. Next year, the copyright will expire on a movie called Steamboat Willie. You might not recognize that title, but you surely recognize the main character, Mickey Mouse. In the next decade, the 2030s, Disney will lose the copyright to Snow White, Bambi, and Fantasia. In 2034, the first Superman stories will be in the public domain. The first Batman stories will follow a year later. But that doesn't mean it will be open season on Mickey Mouse, Batman, and other characters, at least not right away. Let's look at one example. If you close your eyes and think about Pooh Bear, you might picture him wearing a red shirt. That's what he wore in the Disney animations. But in the A. Milne stories, Winnie the Pooh didn't wear a red shirt, and it's the Milne stories that are entering the public domain. Disney didn't add the red shirt until 1966. So anyone making a derivative work of Winnie the Pooh can't show him in a red shirt, at least not for a few decades. Tigger, one of Pooh's friends, didn't appear until a second Milne book, so that character is still under copyright. It's a similar story with Mickey. The early drawings of Mickey Mouse are not the same as the Mickey you probably picture today. Steamboat Willie was in black and white, and Mickey didn't wear gloves. Here's something else. Don't expect Disney to give up Mickey Mouse's image without a fight. That's because there are other rights involved besides copyright. The copyright to Steamboat Willie might expire, but Disney will probably argue that the image of Mickey Mouse is part of the company's trademark. A trademark is an image of a company or an image a company uses to identify itself with the public, like a logo or a cartoon. And unlike copyrights, trademarks last forever. So expect Disney to fiercely defend Mickey's image as part of its trademark. In other words, anyone who wants to sell a t-shirt with Mickey Mouse on it should be ready for a fight from Disney's lawyers. Still, Hollywood will have to get used to seeing derivative works produced by others. That will be an uncomfortable adjustment for studios and fans alike. A lot of fans were bothered by the new Winnie the Pooh movie. And if you're not a fan of blood and honey, then you probably won't like the producer's next project. That's going to be a horror film about Peter Pan who will fly into the public domain next year. Winnie the Pooh is a murderer. I still can't believe this. Well, here's a prediction. As the copyrights for famous works, or as the copyright expiration for famous works grows closer, studios will flood the zone with sequels and remakes, trying to squeeze every last dollar out of their intellectual property. Well, studios probably can't complain too loudly about remakes and derivative works. That is Hollywood's stock in trade. After all, the movie A Star is Born has been made 4 times. Today's expression is slim down. There are 2 ways to use slim down. I will tell you both of those ways today. The first way to use it is with a person. The second way to use it is with a thing. Let's start with a person. If a person wants to lose weight, lose fat, then you would say that person wants to slim down. You might say that you want to slim down before your wedding. Just lose a little weight before getting into that tux or wedding dress. We were talking about movies today. Actors change their bodies all the time. An actor who has a lot of muscle might need to slim down to play the role of a character that's in average shape. Winnie the Pooh might not be a person, but he is an anthropomorphic character. That means he's a non-person made to act and look like a person. We're meant to think of Winnie as kind of like a person, even though he's a bear. Well, one day, he squeezes into Rabbit's home and eats a huge feast. Then, he gets stuck in the door on his way out. He ate too much and now he can't fit out the door. He needs to slim down before he can get out the door. And his friend, Christopher, helps him slim down over the next week. So slim down with a person means to lose a little weight, to get a little slimmer. You can use slim down with a thing also if that thing is thick or, well, fat. Let's say you're an author and you're not yet as famous as Stephen King. Stephen King has written some fat books. I think it was over 1,000 pages. Most authors can't get away with that. So if your manuscript is 800 pages, you might want to slim it down a little bit. You might want to make your manuscript thinner. So we say you might want to slim it down. You might want to make it a little thinner. Amazon announced it would slim down its workforce. The tech giant announced it would eliminate 18,000 jobs in one of the largest rounds of layoffs in this cycle. The workforce, the number of employees, grew and grew during the pandemic. And now they have more workers than their sales and business can justify, in the opinion of the CEO, Andy Jassy. And so they are going to slim down their workforce. They'll take their large workforce and make it smaller. A company can slim down if it's too big. For example, I just read an extremely long book about the company GE, General Electric, as it was once known. The company is over 125 years old, and it was one of the biggest and most successful conglomerates in history. But as you learned in lesson 420, conglomerates are falling out of fashion. So GE has decided to slim down. They are getting less big. They sold a lot of their businesses, a lot of parts of their company, and soon the only thing left of big GE will be the jet airplane division. GE is slimming down. It's Thursday, so JR has selected a song of the week. Today, it's Cure for Me by the artist Aurora. She's a Norwegian singer-songwriter. The song came out in 2021. At that time, Aurora said the song was about this question: why is it so difficult to let others be themselves? This is a good song if you like it too, and if you want to make your own song based on Cure for Me by Aurora, then you will be free to do so in the year 2116. And that brings us to the end of today's Plain English. I hope you learned a lot. I don't know about this new Winnie the Pooh movie. It's coming out next month in most markets. I don't think I will be seeing it, or the Peter Pan version next year, but that's just me. Well, the audio portion of the lesson is over, but the fun continues at plainenglish.com/541. You'll find a free transcript and links to some English articles about today's topic. If you're a Plus member, there's a step-by-step video lesson, all the exercises, the chance to practice what you've learned, and much more, all for you at plainenglish.com/541. We'll be back on Monday with a new lesson. See you then.